Today's conversation is exploring a journey many entrepreneurs find themselves on. Where we're going to explore being adaptive rather than just like being forced into the corner we're not real comfortable with being in. So, on that note, hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the coach's alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible. And if you're ready to start attracting premium clients without chasing algorithms or hunting people down like a banshee on a mission, head over to coachesalchemist.com and schedule your free client acquisition audit. It's the first step to building a business where your clients seek you out rather than you having to hunt them down. Today, we are chatting with Jackie Grawe. Jackie is an artist in recovery and a published author who's redefining what sobriety support can look like through a deep integrative approach that weaves together art, journaling, nutrition, faith, and neuroscience-based daily systems. She helps people move beyond survival mode and into sustainable embodied recovery. Her work focuses on calming the nervous system, addressing underlying trauma, and creating a new rhythm of life where sobriety is supported and not strained. Welcome to the show, Jackie. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Thank you, Jill. If I can just give a shout out to you, you seem to be everywhere on YouTube and school and Substack, and I've never met a more supportive fellow entrepreneur. So I just wanted to shout you out first.
Well, thank you. I'm really honored that you say that. It's really been an adventure getting to know you and watching your journey unfold. And we're going to share with the listeners here in just a minute how how your journey has developed and how you've moved from a space where you were feeling trapped and not really good about what you were offering to a space that's um, just embraces all of who you are and it allows you to share your zone of genius with the world. And I love what you're doing. So what's the most significant thing in your opinion as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
So find what you're good at and share it as best as possible with people who are starved for creativity and for calm. And on my Substack, I'm kind of writing periodically because, as you mentioned, I am kind of redirecting my focus. But first and foremost, I don't think we can make really great art if our nervous system is out of whack. And when I first got sober 21 years ago, it took everything I had just to be able to sit in a meeting long enough to hear the message of recovery. And the thing that I used as a tool, and this is someone can use this starting tomorrow, is I grabbed a sketchbook, I grabbed some ink pens, and I would sit in meetings and I just began to draw. And I've always been a little bit self-conscious of that because I didn't want people to think I was tuning them out. It actually helped me listen better because I didn't have to make eye contact or think, oh my gosh, I'm speaking to a group of 30 people. I had my head down and I was engaged, and I had no idea what happens in the brain when we actually put pen to paper, that it taps into the part of the brain that calms you down and taps you into greater creativity and calmness. And so it became my new healthy addiction. I started drawing every day, which led to more refined art.
And your art is so beautiful. I noticed when we first connected over here on Zoom to do this interview that I think you were drawing. I I think I saw the top of your pen moving. And it just reminds me that you use it as an anchor
Yes.
to tie you into the situation instead of letting your brain just like go off on its own adventure and make up things that horrify you. And it's just, uh, it's not a commentary on who you are. It's just some people's brains work differently than other people's brains, which makes recovery different for everybody. Like I haven't had alcohol in over 3 years, and it wasn't a struggle for me, but just because it wasn't a struggle for me doesn't mean that it's not a struggle for others. And some people are just like they they really can't say no unless they have something else to do to distract their brain. It's like your brain just gets in the way and it gets stuck in this loop. And yeah, which is
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
absolutely. That's a good observation on your part. And for creatives, I think what our I don't want to call it a problem, but maybe it's another gift that we have to learn to work with is most creatives are what I've noticed is they're very empathetic. Oh, sorry. I need to plug in my laptop. It's
very good.
so
I was
sorry.
listening to somebody talk about empaths and uh when we're told not to be people pleasers, but empaths can't help it sometimes because even though you may have your boundaries and all these things that you think you're going to be doing and saying, the moment you say no, you're feeling the disappointment that other person's feeling.
Right.
It's like, so then you end up saying yes
Okay.
because
I'm so sorry. I need to move. I'm going to shift over to my couch. This is just kind of
you're good.
dealing with issues that happen on the fly.
It's what happens in life.
Yeah, it sure does. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for that. But yeah, please continue. I want to hear your insight on that.
Yeah, I was just talking about the when you're a creative that and an empath, that empaths have this other layer of stuff in their brains. It's like, yeah, you can say no, but you're feeling all the feels that that other person is experiencing. And so
Mhm.
you'll end up just like saying yes, even though you really don't want to say yes. It's how you end up in the people pleasing mode is because you just don't want to feel those feelings that this other person is experiencing
Right.
because you feel like it's your fault.
Yeah, well, the other thing too about empaths, and I have a quick little story to share here, is I remember, because I support myself, so a lot of times I'll end up waiting tables, and no disrespect to people who do that, but it drains the life out of me because we're bombarded with so many different people's emotional states and we're there to make them happy. But I walked into a restaurant one night and I said, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? What's happening?" And this guy was like, nothing. Why?" And I found out later that at that moment, one of the managers was being fired and they had to escort him out of the building. And I felt it. Even though I wasn't involved in it or anything, it's, we can read a room's emotions, and that can be very draining for a creative or an empath. And it's like, how do you block off this constant bombardment of so many different people's emotions coming at you? And that's another barrier that I have with art, or not barrier, but it's this protective thing. It kind of encompasses me and it makes me feel safe and calm. And the other thing that I write about a lot on Substack, and some people can view it as a negative, but it's this underlying thread of people who are in recovery are trying to numb themselves from unhealed wounds.
Mhm.
And so I thought, okay, I'll get clean and sober and life will be happy, joyous, and free. And what about the people who don't feel happy, joyous, and free, but they have this raw emotional state? And so I looked deeper into trauma, and a lot of people are walking wounded. They're pretending everything's okay. They've handled this big, huge mountain of a problem by getting off of drugs and alcohol, but now they just have these wounds. And that's why I did want to do uh, art and recovery. But now, as I'm aligning myself more with my gifts, which is art, recovery is so personal. And you'll have people like you with your story and your journey, and you don't understand that kind of white knuckled, if I don't drink, I'm going to die feeling.
Mhm.
So, how can I speak to you? And how can I speak to the guy who's under the bridge, who's lost everything with the same message? I can't. I can't. And so I was like, okay, that's something that people have to discover on their own. But what's universal is the art. And I know that may not seem like, okay, that's the primary purpose once I've gotten clean and sober, but my goodness, it is an anchor. It's grounding, it's real, it's pen to paper. Um, and my daughter sent me something on Instagram a few weeks ago that really hit my heart. It was fascinating. They did an experiment with people who were put in solitary confinement. And most of the guys were like, I got to get out of here. Help me. I'm going crazy. And one guy who actually finished the entire experiment, the way he stayed normalized, I don't know if that's the word, but he
Sane. It drives people insane to go be put in solitary confinement.
absolutely, and the way he stayed sane is he would speak out loud. I'm standing up. I'm bending over. I have my arm up. I have my left arm down. And he just kept speaking through it. And sometimes when we say things out loud and we speak to the reality of what's going on around us, it
Mhm.
can anchor us and it can stabilize us. Um, and so I think that might be what is so calming to me about art is if, it doesn't matter what crisis is going on in my head. I'm putting pen to paper, and typically I don't talk when I'm drawing. I'm not
Mhm.
like, I have the pen, it's in I don't do that. But there's something very, very peaceful and calming about the tactile practice of putting pen or paintbrush to canvas and creating. That's who we're supposed to be. We're all creatives on one level or the other.
Something that I discovered as being part of your community over on school was that I'm not a person who sees things in a way that can translate into an image being maybe even identifiable, but which is kind of the first step in being able to draw or sketch realistically. But I, it it occurs to me that you approach art like some people, coaches out there, approach journaling.
Mm,
It's the process, and you can't really journal on a computer. It's the process of using a pen and moving it across the page, and it creates an an image. It's a
mm,
word, but a word is an image, just in abstract form. But that's all that drawing is also. It's it's learning to write in a different language. And it requires something of your brain that is different than speaking or just thinking about things. It's putting the energy into creating something real, even if it's two-dimensional. You're bringing it into this realm.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the first discovered artwork was, I think, 6,000 BC in the caves of somewhere in, I want to say France. I don't know why that's popping in my head.
Mhm.
But, when man was just about surviving, just about hunting and getting food to keep his family or his tribe alive, he was taking materials and putting them on the walls around him. And I think the more digital we become, especially kids, they feel less and less disconnected from who they really are. And there's a beautiful thing that happens when someone picks up any type of art material and puts it on a piece of paper. So as schools, as they crunch their budgets and they cut out the arts and they're focused more on, sports or sciences, and then these kids after a long day, all they have in their hand is a phone. That's tragic to me. How can you look inward? How can you realize who you are creatively if you have this digital rectangle darkness showing you all of the tragedies in the world? That's they're even saying now that some kids, uh the part of the brain that understands empathy and compassion is not actually developing properly. Their their whole focus is that phone, and that's why I'm like, "Okay, what can I do to make the world better?" Um, it goes so much deeper than, "Here, learn how to draw. I'm gonna teach you the techniques." No, I'm gonna teach you how to connect with who you really are, and that you're an empathetic, creative, beautiful, unique soul who's never walked this planet before. Let's see what comes out once you do learn the skills.
I love that. And you're teaching people these skills on YouTube in the videos
Yeah.
that you're going to be making. And this is kind of for our listeners. It's a shift in direction for Jackie. She found herself in a position where she was thinking she was going to go in one direction, but realized that it really wasn't aligned with her values and the way that she wanted to contribute to the world. So I really, my hat's off to you, Jackie, for the honesty you're showing to yourself and for stepping out and just embracing your gifts to share with the world. And she is so gifted when it comes to creating pieces of art. And they're not, she's not like super far ahead of all of us, though some of her work is spectacular. She's still connected enough to those of us at the very beginning stages of our art journeys that that you don't feel overwhelmed. She'll give you like exercises and
Right.
then you could do the exercise or not, and but you feel like you've accomplished something. And it every time you do something like that, it moves you a little closer to a connection with something deep inside of you, and it feels good. You can't draw and just not feel good afterwards.
Right. Right on. Well, your gift is definitely encouragement and helping people dig deeper into what they truly wanna do, and I needed that. I needed that because I did feel pressured to just kinda pick something, and I was like, "Okay, well, What's the most important thing to me? Being sober. I'll do that. And then I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't align. As I said, it's a very personal journey and it's different for everyone. So, and that's on me, being someone who's a little bit ADHD and, seeking and looking at how can I help this world be just a little bit brighter. Um, I keep pushing the art to the side and I'm like, well, I'll write. I'll do videos. Well, I'll help people get sober or realize the value of being sober. And it's like, no, I just need to focus on my craft. And if there's people out there who want to learn and are willing to learn slowly, I definitely want to stress that because you can't learn this level of craftsmanship in 30 days or less. As much as people love to market, it's like, no, I'm willing to take the beginner student, whatever skill level they have, and I'll teach them how to grow it.
And it's not, it's art is such a personal process. I both of my parents are artists. My mom was an art history major. And so I've always been exposed to really beautiful artwork and the stories that are behind the pieces, which is eh, almost more important to me than the actual piece itself. And
Yes.
that is what I feel in your community and the direction that you're going in. You're helping draw out who you are as a human being, and as you're creating, it's almost magic, the piece. And people do all kinds of art. It's You could draw with pen and paper, you can draw with crayons, you can draw with pastels, and there's some meditation. You did a video about separating your pastels, which was a meditation to me. It
Mm,
was totally a meditation of color separation and the progress to completing something and cleaning something up. There, I ended with that feeling like you just cleaned your whole house and you sit down and you go, that
yes.
that's what that short pastel cleanup did for me. So it's just like there's there's a dance to it. It's not just like come here and learn how to draw.
Right.
It's much more than that. It's join
Yeah.
Jackie's community and go on an adventure to
Right.
discover what's hiding inside of you to share with the
Well,
world.
the other thing about the pastel cleanup is, sometimes you don't know what direction to go.
Mm.
And my if people can hold on to one thing that I say in this conversation, it's just keep going no matter what. Just keep going. I call it spiritual breadcrumbs. And as much as I'm more of kind of a traditionalist Catholic, I love the Bible, I love all of that, and theology fascinates me. The second you mentioned art history, I felt like alive. And I'm like, oh, I can talk about that all day. And those are spiritual breadcrumbs that if you give up or if you stop on the path that you're on, you're not going to get those nuggets of insight. And that's why I tell people just keep going. So on that day, it was a Saturday, it was sunny, it was warm. I felt guilty for not being outside. And I was like, okay, what can I do? And I was like, oh, my pastels, I got to get them straight. And I was like, well, I can film it. I'll film it. Maybe someone will like it. And people really seem to like that one. Um, I have to keep my ego, my second rule for people is keep your ego out of it. So since this is a brand new channel for me, the views are, some of them are low, some of them are yeah, and some seem to hit home with people. And it's like, I don't know. who I'm inspiring or encouraging or uplifting with the work that I do. And that's really not my territory. My message is just keep going, find what makes you feel alive. And if one person had like a better day because they saw how I clean up and rearrange my pastels and the reverence, I take a reverence to everything I do, then it was actually a success, you know? So that's the thing, just keep going, follow the spiritual breadcrumbs, the path will unfold before you. Um, you just can't stop. Stopping is when that momentum tends to slow down, and we don't want that. We want momentum.
We want momentum. We want to have the flexibility to shift. Not,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything. It's just the experience. As you grow, and this is all a growth process where we're helping the world to grow together in a direction that more and more of us would like to see it go in rather than the direction that we keep getting blasted with, where it's like you have no control. You have to like be afraid. And this the opening up of the allowing things to come forth and just
Right.
letting them be an experience without having to attach meaning to them. It's moving the world in such a better direction to me.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? That just triggered a thought too. Um, I have been watching this professor out of China, and he is so articulate. I think he's a genius. And I found him right after I unfollowed over 100 accounts on Instagram because I noticed that if I didn't know what to do, I started scrolling, and energetically, I could feel myself going down and I could feel this anxiety. And I'm like, well, what's happening? What did I eat today? Like, where did this come from? And then I was like, okay, when there's a void, nature abhors a void. It doesn't like a vacuum, so you have to fill it with something else. And that exact same day, I found this professor, and he speaks to it that the collective energy and anxiety of a group of people will feed those who are filthy rich and who profit off of our anxiety.
Mhm.
And I said, "Oh, for the love of Saint Pete, um, that's my answer," you know? So, trying to get people to unplug from the machine where they feed off just like putting gasoline in a car, they feed off of our collective anxiety. But I will warn people, it's not like you're gonna jump up and down the next day and feel invigorated. There's been a little bit of a withdrawal. You know, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how much have I been watching this crap and thinking it it was just, somehow important for me to know all of this stuff." I I saw a neuroscientist who spoke about this on Instagram, the amount of oh, I hope that doesn't if you need to knock that out, that's fine. I don't want you to get dinged when I mention a platform. I'll just say certain social medias, this neuroscientist spoke and said the amount of the acts of violence and anger and agitation the human mind was never meant to see. It's so bad for our mental health. And I'm 56, so I'm wondering what the average 12-year-old experiences on an emotional level. Like, "Oh, Lord, these poor kids," and they think this is reality. It's not. It's algorithms and it's manipulation of our emotions so that we buy whatever the product is that pops up next.
And it's manipulation by design.
Exactly. They know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And the more people that wake up to their own innate ability to love one another, find their creative outlet, whether they're good or not, and I think that was my number 2 rule, keep your ego out of it. That matters so little. It's the creative process that actually taps into your self-worth because at the end of the day and I'm in the middle of editing a year-end video of all the work I did this year because I was like, "Okay, now I'm shifting directions again. Oh, no. I lost my momentum," and I'm like, "No, I didn't. I produced a lot of work this year." So, sometimes I need to see the tactile work in order to show that I was very productive and that a redirection is never like a punishment or a fail. It just means you're going down the right road.
You're adapting. And that's
Yes.
adapting to data.
Yes.
This is like we don't have to get on a path and stay on that path forever. We have options and choices, and new things will present themselves, and so we can make different decisions. And what's the beauty of life is we get to have all of these experiences, and they they don't have to mean anything. They can just be experiences, and we can choose to enjoy them.
Yes. Yeah, what's his name? Ralph Waldo Emerson, he spoke to that because someone questioned him where he shifted on a topic, and he said, "I'm allowed to change with new information."
Yeah.
You know, an intelligent man will shift, or an intelligent woman will shift according to new data and new information, and that's all I've done. Is I'm like, "Oh, okay. That's not where I wanna go." But I was forced, and there was a big investment, and I was this whole thing about hurry, 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 that's that's a modern thing, and I think that's why I wanna emphasize my new community within school is gonna be a slower approach to learning a craft because there is no hurry. And actually making great things takes a lot of time and focus and dedication. And if people have that and they want to invest in learning something and getting better at it, then I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'll help you. I'll teach you everything I've learned over 20 years.
And we can find you through Substack and YouTube for now. And we will, as your new community is developed and comes online, people will be able to find that community through your Substack account and also through your YouTube. And you can find Jackie on YouTube at youtube.com/ at Jackie Grawe, Grawe. And you can find her on Substack at Grawe, Grawe.substack.com. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining me today, Jackie. This has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you, Jill. This has been great. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. And seriously, people, you'll love her videos. They are so encouraging and just really inspiring. So visit her at youtube.com/ at Jackie Raw. And thanks for tuning in today to the You World Order Showcase podcast. If you're ready to amplify your voice, monetize your mission, and start attracting premium clients, your next step is simple. Head to the Coach's Alchemist and schedule your free client acquisition audit. Be sure to join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.